on yet another glorious morning. Mrs. K is here to teach you about one of the staples of all cooked things. Nadia, Griff, it is the white sauce, the bechamel, one of Escoffier's genius mother sauces. And yes, we're going to learn about the white sauce. Oh, check that out. Oh, not great. Okay, so I've got pasta cooked. We're going to make a cheese sauce. So I've got cooked pasta. You can use whatever you want. We're going to make a cheese sauce. What I'm doing right now is something amazing. I'm making a roux. Can somebody in this class tell me what a roux is?
Are you vlogging now?
No, I'm not. Give me a rest. I'm not vlogging, blogging, or doing anything else that ends with a G-G-I-N-G. Okay. Dax, get off that phone.
My mom keeps texting me again.
I just gotta call her.
Yeah, you should.
I'd be like, you know what? Everything is good. This kid's great. All right. Okay, guys. What's a roux? Who could tell me what a roux is? What's a roux? Something and starch. You got half of it, Brooks.
And she's supposed to add flour.
Dax.
1 part fat, 1 part flour.
1 part fat and 1 part starch, and flour is the one that I use. So So I'm cooking this. Don't fall into the pot. I'm cooking my roux. Few things that you want to know when you are making a white sauce is that you want your roux to be cooked off a little bit. You want to cook it for probably 3 or so minutes. All right, and you got to think about starches in terms of thickening a sauce like little tiny sponges. Okay, so if you think about flour as little tiny sponges floating inside of a sauce, what do sponges do? They absorb. So the more sponges you put into your sauce, so the bigger the amount of the roux, do you think it's going to become thicker? Can we, yeah, we can infer this. So it's going to become thicker, right? So I'm thickening my sauce using my hot fat to separate and my starches to thicken. So as I heat my sauce, the starches are going to use their absorptive powers and they're going to suck in the liquid, creating viscosity. So if I increase the ratio of fat and starch, I increase the thickness as well. Yes? Beauty. Do I add my cheeses at the beginning or the end? End. So the sauce, so you're saying that the sauce should already be thick when I add my cheese. Cheese is an acid, so any acid I add, the sauce must already be thick. Sir Shaneth, will you hold this for me? I can only do so many things. Thanks. Shane is like, I'm gonna have to, I don't know, I'm gonna hold this guy, something. Pat on the back, will that work? Okay, so the key is, can you point it downward? There you go, okay, right there. I don't need to see my own face. Okay, when I go to add in my milk, the key is over medium heat. I'm gonna remove my pan from the heat. You're the best, Shane. I'm gonna add in a little tiny bit of milk. A little bit. Shane and I are like on an opposite schedule here. Little bit of milk, little bit of milk. Okay, and then you're gonna be like, oh my God, Miss K, you ruined it. It looks like chunky mashed potatoes. Nope, I haven't ruined it yet, but that's good. Okay, it's supposed to look like chunky mashed potatoes. It's okay, Shane, don't worry, do not dismay. Mrs. K will now add just a slight amount more of her milk. Okay, so she's starting to thin out a little bit, still looks mashed potato-y. Is it ruined yet, Shane? Do not despair, there is more. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I always add my milk off the heat and a little bit at a time to get the smoothest, glossiest sauce I can possibly get. And I want it to be completely smooth before I add my next addition of milk. I just got to be a little bit careful here because my burner's still on, because I'm going to put this back on the heat once I have my full amount of milk. So I believe we're working with 50 mils butter, 50 mils flour, and 250 milk per person. So you can see it's getting, ooh, it's not ruined. She's not ruined. She's beautiful. She's glossy. Okay. And then I'm going to add in the rest of the milk. I'm going to give her a stir. My starch is nice and smooth. She's in. She's in. Now back on the heat. Back on the heat. Gordon Ramsay. No swears. Even better. Okay. Okay. So now I'm cooking. So we want to make sure, yeah. Thank you. Oh, plumbing problems in the foods room. Not new. We'll get to them. Don't worry. Focus here on the bechamel. All right. So what I want to do, are you guys good? The sink is broken. Don't worry, the sink will not explode. And if it does, it will just be yet another comedy in today's class. All right. All right, so we want this sauce, hello, to be thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. You put a spoon into the sauce, it comes out, and the spoon should be coated. We call this the nappe. All right, a white sauce or a bechamel is very, very bland, and so you're gonna wanna add seasoning. So in your kitchens, if you pull out your salt and pepper, just make sure that you leave them out so that you can sanitize those containers for the next person. Other seasonings that you could add if you're at home, you could add cayenne pepper if you like it really spicy. I know a lot of my students like things real spicy. Pardon? Garlic powder, I love that one myself. You could do like a basil oregano type of thing, but you know what? Choose 2 or 3 things, salt, pepper, and a little bit of something else, and kind of stick with it, you know? Don't overdo it. So just because you have 15 spices in your pantry doesn't mean that you should use them all in the same dish. Okay? All right, so when you're stirring, another way is you can use a figure-8 motion with your whisk. And I challenge you to do this by doing the figure-8. It moves more of the surface area of the white sauce so that you're not scorching. What's scorching? Terminology. Scorching. Burning to the bottom of the pan. So when I scorch, my milk product is burning to the bottom of the pan. Do you want burnt milk in your creamy, beautiful, delicate, deluxe mac and cheese? No. And keep in mind, you can use any cheeses you want. You can use like an old cheddar. You can use a combination of a few different cheeses. And we're gonna make the cheese sauce today for macaroni and cheese, but you could use it for a casserole. You could use it for a million different things. You know, if you're like trying to get that broccoli down that your mom is making you eat, you got to eat this broccoli, I told you. You can be like, okay, I'm going to make my cheese sauce and put it on my broccoli so I eat it. But look how nice and smooth that's coming. Beauty. So this is what I would call a medium white sauce, the most common of the sauces. And then once your sauces get pretty thick, do we add the acids over the heat, or we don't have to add the acids over the heat? We take it off the heat, add the acids in. Acids might be things like tomato paste, tomato-based products, lemon, and cheese is an acid, okay? Or if you're making a sweet sauce, cocoa or chocolate could be an acid. So I can see that my sauce is at the thickness that I like. And then if I get a spoon, so for example, this spoon, and I dip it into the sauce, you can see that it coats the spoon. That's exactly the thickness that we want. That's what we describe as the nappe, and that's where we want to be. All right? Now, of course, the ingredient of champions. So, if any of you are...
That's not a lot of cheese.
Okay, peanut gallery. You can use as much cheese as you want at home, but here in the foods room where we have no money and Mrs. K is going to have to sell a child to get more, that's the amount you get. It's mac and half cheese. Didn't you see I put a half at the front of the recipe? Check the Google Classroom. It's mac with half cheese. At your house, you can have double cheese, triple cheese, all the cheese you want. But today in Miss K's class, it's half cheese. So I've melted it in. You see, she's beautiful. She's smooth. Cheese melted in. And you know what I like to do? I like to take my macaroni and put it right in there and get it all tossed and beautiful. Thank God I didn't eat breakfast this morning because this looks like my lunch, breakfast, and my dinner right here. Okay. Okay, so if any of you are aspiring teachers in the future, all you have to do to make your students have a great time is act like a complete fool and not care about it. All right. That was the bechamel. Until next time.